on this Sunday. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Keep your head up. Do your job of being a dad. Um, it's the greatest feeling in the world is being a father. Uh, I want to talk about the immigration and what's going on in this country. There's a lot of things going on from having the immigration, protests going across America, the No King um, protests, Donald Trump having his little parade with the military, and him on his birthday being 79 years old. I don't know how this is all going to end, but it reminds me of Black Lives Matter 5 years ago. Like, Black Lives Matter. Same predicament. Trump tried to use his soldiers, but he couldn't use them because the government blocked it. Now he's trying to do this. He did the same thing, but he got opportunity to use his military, but not to use it as much because it was blocked again. What really is puzzling me about this whole thing, about this immigration thing, is immigration been around for so long, for nearly over 100 something years. Ever since the 1800s. Then it just bottled down through, people coming into the country. But I see people realize when you bring people into this country, it's not because they're undocumented. Sometimes it's because of war, something going on in their country. Because the United States and many other countries do this. That's why it's called nations. You have to help your nation with any conflict that goes on in their country, and they need to leave their country to come to another country. It's not because they're coming here undocumented. They're coming here to get out of their country because all the things that are going on in their country, because like war, famine, you got tyrants and a lot of other things. Because people don't understand that's been going on for a very, very long time. America been having a lot of undocumented immigrants from the Japanese, the Chinese, to the Germans, to the Arabs, to uh, Puerto Ricans, the Mexicans, the Dominicans. Um, it's just a lot of different immigrants that come to this country. Now, see, and I always tell we can't be mad about that because, like I said before, because undocumented immigrants been around for a very long time, ever since blacks were slaves. Ever since the first Europeans came here, they were undocumented. Immigrants from the Native American standpoint. Um, Even when the United States invaded Mexico, there were undocumented immigrants that was invading Mexico to try to get Mexico from Mexico and Texas and California from the Mexicans. And when they went to war with Mexico, is even when they have war around the world, like the World War II, Hitler invaded a lot of countries and took countries, and took his people, shoved them in their country, and they were undocumented immigrants. He even said the Jews were undocumented immigrants at one point, and they wasn't undocumented immigrants, but he took them, locked them up, put them in concentration camps, tortured them, and and he blamed the Jews for murdering, raping, all this other kind of stuff. That he did the same thing that Trump is doing with the Mexicans. He's doing the same thing Hitler did when Hitler was talking about how terrible Jews were, and now he's talking about how terrible Mexicans are. But once upon a time, he talked about the Arabs being the same way, and the Arabs, you cut the Arabs off from the United States, and it was crazy then to see that he's doing it with the Mexicans, and it just doesn't make any sense that you want people to be documented, but you're lying about these people being murderers, killers, and rapists. I'm not saying that there aren't no murderers, rapists, and killers out there in other parts of the planet, but you can't. You got to prove it. You can't just be going into people's cribs and locking people the fuck up just because you think you can, and throw them in jail or throw them in concentration camps because they're undocumented. That's wrong because they can do that to us. Like people don't understand that we go to other countries too. We go to Puerto Rico, we go to Mexico, we go to the Bahamas, we go to the Caribbean, we go to Thailand, Japan, we go to all these different countries. We go to Africa, we go to South America, we go to all these different countries to vacation. And sometimes that some of these, not just vacation, sometimes we go to escape from doing crime in our own country. Like you see a lot of these people be escaping after they do a murder here in the United States. They'll go to Mexico, they'll go to Puerto Rico, they'll go to the Barbados, they'll go somewhere so they can stay away from the police, and they know they can try to find a way to not get, you know, them to get brought back to the United States. And they're undocumented immigrants. And that's what the United States people are too. When we go to these countries, we're not documented immigrants. When we go to Africa, are we documented? If we go to Australia, are we documented? If we go to Canada, are we documented? No, we're not. You know, and we go and hide in these places. But do you see them snatching us up and bringing us back to America or searching for us and doing ICE and all that? They don't do all that crap. They'll let people get an opportunity to get their immigration papers. Now, it takes a long time for people to get their immigration papers in the United States because it's very, very hard. People don't understand how hard it is to get your immigration papers in the United States. The English language is probably the hardest language to learn. And coming to the United States is not a pretty ride. People come here probably just to work, not to come here because they see glitz and glamour, because the United States is not a glitz and glamour country. We don't have that many people here, which everybody think we're overpopulated. We only have like 400 million people here. That's a little bit of people than you have in Japan. That's a billion. China that has a billion. Russia that has a billion. We don't have a billion people living in this country. And I don't know why do they actually believe that a billion people live in this country. And we're not living in the Midwest where there's a lot of water and mountains and open area and a lot of places that are very, very cold and very, very hot. We're not living in the area. So we're living on the East Coast and the West Coast, but we're not living in the Midwest, in the middle. So basically, you can fit a lot of people in the United States, but nobody's coming here to live in the Midwest. So we get all these people coming here because we are a country that's supposed to help other countries. This is what we are signing treaties for, to help other countries, regardless if they're documented or undocumented. I mean, even if they want to come and work, you can get mad about them coming to work because you want to sit there and say they're taking their jobs. How do you know they're taking your jobs? If they're working on farmland, if they're doing little by little that the things that we don't do. We don't work on farmland. I just saw these Mexicans sitting up there climbing on the freaking cleaning windows on a swing. On a swing with a little bit of rope, but a little bit of protection to protect them from falling off that swing and probably killing themselves. They were up in this high rise cleaning a window. And I'm looking at it like, I would never do that shit. You know what I mean? You see Mexicans going climbing up poles that are thousands of feet high to change a light bulb. Would you do that? Would you work underground, deep, 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 deep underground and work in the dark, dark places that you've never been to in your life to clean or to do a job that you probably get paid good money to do? 30, 40, $50 an hour. But see, a lot of times, a lot of people don't want to take them jobs because we're so used to doing office jobs by sitting in the office all day, pressing buttons. We want to be on the internet all the time. We want the easy jobs. We want the easy way to make money. But when we see somebody else getting money the hard way, we don't like that because we're so used to getting money easy by getting on the internet, going on TikTok, going on Facebook, going on YouTube, going on Instagram, doing influence shit. We make the easy money. Like women will take their clothes off. Guys would scam, and that's how we will get our money the easy way. But when you see somebody else is doing it the hard way, doing it the way that they really honestly, we're supposed to be doing it just like our ancestors used to do it the hard way to make money. Because before all this, remember, our ancestors were immigrants too. They were working on high rises. They were working with no type of harnesses and building like tall buildings, building bridges, building train, railroads, all this with no type of protection. And they did this for a little bit of money, little teeny bit of money. They were doing like $5, $10 a day to what we're making now. We're getting paid by hourly, but we're making more money today than they did back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s when they were just sitting there building railroads for like 25 cents a day, or maybe just not that. They were working for free. Or a lot of war people that came from war came back without having jobs, so they had to force themselves to find jobs, so they had to work for anything. But they did that because they were forced to work because they didn't have no money coming back. They didn't have a good GI Bill. They didn't have no protection insurance, so they had to go out there and work to make money to feed their families. Today, it's so easy for us to make money. We can make money just selling our products. Like we can sell our TV. We can sell our sneakers. We can make money so easy. But when we see it, the people that are doing it the hard way, like the Mexicans, the Puerto Ricans, the Dominicans, the Chinese, they come here, open up their stores or whatever. We get mad because we can't do that shit. Or they say they won't give us a loan. Of course, they're never going to give us a loan because we live here. They're going to give loans to people that are out of the country because number one, they want them people to open up their own stores here so they can build the economy. You got to understand, we work for an economy. And our economy is based on what we do as we work and as money that we make. Because you just can't be paying bills on being an influencer all the time. You got to get a real job. And that's what they want you to do. But people out here today are so lazy. People don't want to work. So that's the reason why people get mad at the Mexicans, get mad at the people that don't have are undocumented, because they'll take the jobs that we won't take. The hard, shitty ass jobs, cleaning shit, that we will never touch. Or we can't go into a room that like has, that a whole bunch of dead bodies was in, and we gotta take all these dead bodies out and we gotta put them somewhere. They will go in there and clean that motherfucking house with all them dead bodies within an hour. But would a regular American go and do that? America is different than any other country because we're not a war. We're basically almost a war torn country, but we're not a war torn country. A lot of these war torn countries, or they make it look like war torn countries, because a lot of these countries aren't war torn countries. Because everybody has bad parts of countries that have hood, that has very very like places got famine, drought. You got a lot of other parts of the country around the world that has a lot of bad parts, war torn parts, like people are going to war and shit like that. Yeah, but you're going to protect them people. You will protect them because you don't want to see them die. You don't want to see their children die. So America is going to take them people, bring them over here, give them a little bit of jobs, give them a house or a home, give them a little bit of education until their country can go back to the way it was before they had a war. And that's what Ukraine is doing. Ukraine did that. A lot of other countries that were going through war. Yeah, if America was going through war, they would have did the same thing to us. China would have took us. Japan would have took us, because that's what you do when you have countries. Even if we're not documented, they would have took us, because that's what countries do. They protect other countries. Now, if you don't want to protect any of these countries, you want to see these people die in their countries just because you don't want them to come here and work and live and make money. That's kind of fucking rude, because the United States, like I said, is not a big country. Very, very small country. It looks big because they make it look big, but it's not. It's only 300 to 4 million people. That's not a lot of people, like I said, in Japan and China. I mean, that has close to 1 billion people. So America always will believe, oh, you're coming here and taking our land and all that. What land are they taking? Tell me. It's not that many people here. And even if you added the immigrants here, that's still not a lot of Americans that's living in this country. And you add fucking immigrants here, there's still going to be less than at least about 400 and something million people living in the United States than, like I said, any other country that has over 1 billion. See, we don't have jobs because nobody's coming here to build businesses here. We used to have businesses, but everybody left because after the time that we had all these factories, everybody left. They went to other countries because they felt making money in other countries was better than making countries in America, because they spread it out through the world. Why are they going to stay in a country just because they going to make money here? Oh, well, we're just going to stay here. We're not going to make no money nowhere else. No. Then you had China, then you had India, you had all these countries that actually are helping America, because a lot of people don't like these countries, but without these countries helping America, America wouldn't be shit right now. Without China, China makes half of everything for the United States, and they make their motherfucking medication. India is also big on their medication. People don't like the way going on in Ukraine, but Ukraine is one of the biggest fertilizers in the world that the United States actually buy fertilizer from. And many other countries like Russia and many other countries that the America hates really actually is helping America survive. Because most of the time, if you take away China and you take away a lot of these countries that's making things for the United States, where's the United States making shit? We don't have no factories here. When is the last time we had an actual factory? When do we actually have things made here? Like actually made in the United States? And you say it's actually made in the United States, not a lot of stuff. Even our medication comes from other countries. Our fertilizer, our food, our fruits comes from Mexico. All our car parts comes from other parts of the country, other parts of the world. It doesn't come from the United States because the United States don't build anything. They don't make anything. We barely have car factories here. We barely have restaurants here. We barely have things here because the United States doesn't know how to keep things here, because the United States is a broke country. I tell you, you don't got that many people living here, and if we had 1 billion people, the United States will thrive, just like Japan. You see how Japan is thriving? All them people over there, billions of people in that country, and they all have different types of ownership of businesses. The United States don't have nobody that's here to own anything. We got the rich, we got the billionaires, and you got the thousandaires, you got the millionaires. But once you go past that line, we got the people that are middle class, and you got broke. And there's a lot of middle class and broke. There are more middle class and broke than there are rich in the United States. That's why a lot of us don't have no money. That's why we're struggling to try to survive in the United States, because we don't have nothing here. We think that we got all these good success, we got all these sport events, we got these Amazon, we got Without this, yes, we would not be able to make any money. But you got these other countries that are making everything for the United States. We would not have our fans, our TVs, our cell phones. We won't be having our sofas. We won't be having any of these clothes if we were not having China help us. But Donald Trump want to get rid of China and put all this stuff on all these countries because these countries are helping America. Because America doesn't help itself. It has been doing this ever since ever since after World War, after the Korean War, or after the Vietnam War. The United States don't never know how to treat their own people. You gotta understand the United States is very, very cheap. We're very, very cheap. We're not an expensive country. We don't spend. Other countries spend on shit. That's why we don't have a lot of stuff here. But we get people to make stuff out of the country. We get mad at them because they're supporting us. But we say, oh, well, America's not making anything because the American people are lazy. The United States people are lazy. I say it so many times. And people don't look on these social media sites and see how many people that are on, even China and Japan, they on their phone every day, but they're working. They're working every day. But you see, America is so influenced on social media. They think that's the only way they can make money after the pandemic. After the pandemic, and everything changed for America. Everybody forgot we had a pandemic. Everybody, not the Black Lives Matter movement, not this immigration protest. We had a fucking pandemic that just passed 5 years ago. And look what America's at now. Before the pandemic, America wasn't even struggling that much. But when the pandemic came and hit hard, made people lose their jobs, made people lose their businesses, people were dying. Next thing you know, what happened after the pandemic? We just got lazy and just said, you know what, TikTok is around. Let's get on TikTok and try to make money off of TikTok. When did people start going out there about start going working again? Nobody wants to work. Nobody wants to make money. They talk about they love money. So why are y'all not working like these Mexicans are? Why y'all not running out there getting them jobs like them? But why y'all bitching and complaining about them? Why are y'all so mad at them? Because, oh, they're undocumented. So the hell what? Your ancestors were undocumented. Remember, you had ancestors that lived here for nearly 300 to 400 years undocumented. The only reason why they don't go after them, because they're dead. Now, you can still have family that's still undocumented, that you don't know nothing about, but you hate somebody. It's funny when I hear Europeans talk about it all the time, but when I start hearing blacks, when I start hearing Puerto Ricans, when I start hearing Dominicans, Chinese, Japanese, saying they don't like that they're undocumented. Motherfucker, how did you get here? How did your family get here from a boat, a plane, or the little boats or little ships that they came over? When they saw the Statue of Liberty, when the Jews came over here, when all these people were coming over here in the 1980s. Did people bitch? No, nobody didn't bitch and complain about that. But now everybody's bitching and complaining because there's no jobs and everybody's thinking everybody else is taking it from them because this is the only thing that we do. We like to blame other fucking people for shit. We never blame ourselves for not getting up on our asses and getting some jobs. We just sit there and wait for somebody to take our job that we believe that we're going to pretend like we want it. And then, hey, that motherfucker took our job. Motherfucker, you didn't want to work that job in the first place. You didn't want to clean shit. You didn't want to go out there and pave roads. You didn't want to build no railroad tracks. I mean, you know what slaves were doing? Did you know what blacks were doing during the war in World War II? They didn't shoot no guns. They didn't fly no planes and tanks. You know what they did? All they did was pave roads and they fucking paved and they did the railroad and built bridges. That's what blacks did. And not just that, Japanese did the same thing when they came over here. When they forced them after World War II and put them in concentration camps, they forced them to build bridges and build tanks and shit. See, this is the thing about it. This is what makes me mad about us as people. We hate people for no reason, and we don't know why. We got a president that his family's undocumented too. He got family members that are undocumented because he's Irish, and his family is not even from this country. His wife is not even from this country. His vice president's wife is not even from this country. But they came here, got documented, now everybody said, well, they're documented. But wasn't they not documented before they came here? They were here first before they got documented, right? And it took them a while to get documented. You don't get documented as soon as you get here. It takes years sometimes for you to get documented. People out there trying to look for good jobs out there, they don't want to look for jobs. You got interviews. I see all these motherfucking places have interviews for all these jobs. Nobody's going in there going for the jobs because you know who's going in there? The people that actually want to make money. Especially people dropping out of college, people dropping out of high school. You got a lot of kids today, young kids that are killing each other. You know, you talk about murder or rapists and killers. What about the United States? The United States has the biggest terrorism in the world. We got more people in prison per capita than any prison in the world. I mean, we got the worst education. We got the worst education. We got the worst everything in America. And we blame other countries for the shit that they're going through. But at least other countries fight for their country to go and protest. They'll go and snatch their president. They're going to snatch their government out of office because that's what they do. They're not afraid to do that. They'll march all day, all night, throw bottles, do everything to get that motherfucker out of office, get that female or male out of office because they're not doing their job as a leader of the country. What do? We do these big ass marches, but Trump is still sitting in his fucking office chilling. He's bitching and complaining, but that's what he always do. We're happy that he's complaining. Why are we happy that he's complaining? That man should have been out of office. They're stretching for an impeachment now. They're trying to stretch for another impeachment, knowing they can't get an impeachment until next year. The same way they tried to get an impeachment of Trump the year he was in office, when they're trying their best to get an impeachment. You can't just rush this shit. These other countries, if Trump was in these other countries and he was in them other offices in other countries, Trump would have been snatched out his office and been hanging by a rope. That's just fucking facts. You know that they do that in other countries. This country, they don't do that. We'll march and we'll laugh at Trump, talk about how bad Trump is. He's this and he's that. Oh my God. He's going to keep on doing the same thing. He's not going to stop. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about immigrants. He never cared about immigrants before he was president, when he was making big time money of running casinos and golf courses, when he was an entrepreneur. He didn't care about immigrants then, because he treated immigrants like trash. A lot of y'all megas, whatever y'all want to be, I don't care fuck with y'all. Y'all just make these names up. The people that like Trump don't know nothing about Trump, but when they start to figure out who Trump was, then they'll be like, oh my God, he was never a bad person. The man always been like this. His family always been like this. He's a rich entrepreneur. He was close to a billionaire. He was a billionaire. I mean, he hung around a lot of rich motherfucking people. That's all he knows. He don't know no poor people. He don't care about no poor people. He don't care about no middle class. If you're over the B, you know that word B, billion, or you with that T, trillion, he cares about you. He's your homie. He's your buddy. Shake your hand. Even if you're a millionaire, if you're worth 500 or 600 million, that's your homie. He don't come and visit you. You're going to go to parties. You're going to do the same thing he did with Epstein. He's going to do the same thing he did with Puffy. He's going to do them little crazy little parties because he love money. He don't give a fuck about poor people. He don't care. He'd rather see y'all suck. That's why he wants y'all to hate the Mexicans. He wants you to hate people that come over here undocumented, that is making money, and make you blame them for making all that damn money. But they're not even making that much money that you making. We're still on $7.25 an hour. $7.70. We're on $7.25 an hour. Think about that. They won't even raise the minimum wage. They even said that they are not. Even Donald Trump said he's not raising it. Even the boy that works for Donald Trump that wrote the book 2025, he said you should not raise it. Why? Because they don't want to give people like us, poor and middle class, opportunity to own shit. We don't own nothing. We don't own land. We don't own nothing. Only thing we own is the clothes on our backs. We rent our houses and we rent cars because that's what's called loans. And we got to pay on this shit every month. We don't own nothing. The rich motherfuckers own everything. They own the planet. That's why they're laughing at us. That's why Donald Trump really doesn't care. People really think he cares. He really doesn't care. His birthday party, he probably cared because that was his birthday party. That was his birthday. But any other time, Trump probably would never fucking cared. He doesn't care about nobody except himself. He's very egotistical. He loves himself. He loves himself. You know, Terrell always used to say he loves me some me. That's what he is. Trump is the same way with Terrell always used to say, I love me some me. He don't give a damn about nobody else. He don't care about if he wears the tariffs up, that's messing up the economy, making the stock market crash, and making everybody try to look for food, which we can't afford food. We can't afford nothing. But he don't care about the terrorists. He don't care about none of that stuff. And if he did care about your mega people, he wouldn't be doing this shit. But see, people don't want to turn their backs because they're afraid that Trump's going to still do shit worse than he ever has done. He's going to do it anyway. He's the president of the United States, even though he's not a king. No, he's not a king. But he could be a tyrant. He can. He could be just like Hitler if he really wanted to be. But he's not Hitler. He will never be Stalin. He will never be Adolf Hitler because them two are two different motherfuckers. See, Hitler, he would have just blown up his own motherfucker because he would have destroyed his own country. What Hitler didn't just go after the Jews. He went after his own people. He killed a lot of his own people too. And the thing about, you gotta understand, man. You gotta understand. We are complaining about trying to compete with Mexicans. Why are we competing with anybody? The United States is supposed to be the most powerful country in the world. We're not supposed to be competing with nobody. We got to have the strongest military. We have the strongest education. We have the strongest everything. We don't have strong shit because that shit was taken away from us. And even during the pandemic, We want to blame everybody else for doing things, but we don't blame ourselves for the things that we're doing in our own country because we never had a pandemic like this ever since 1918. So when a pandemic came along, we didn't even know what the fucking pandemic was about because we never been through a pandemic before. So we didn't know how to treat people. We didn't know how to help and adapt. We didn't know how to adapt. And once the pandemic was over, we just forgot about it. Then we started hating everybody. We just started, don't want the pandemic made us hate even more because we started hating our own family members and our own friends because we were afraid of a virus that we had influenza, we had SARS, we had measles, we had chickenpox, we had yellow fever, we had the Black Death, the Great London Plague, we had every other virus that killed billions of people. We had really honestly, we still have the fucking disease. We still have the virus that killed nearly 1 billion people. Everybody knows what that disease is, and it's called influenza. It still exists, and it killed over 1 billion people throughout its existence ever since 1918, my fault, 1918. But what we do, we cut that off, say, oh, that didn't exist anymore. Oh my God, we're gonna go to this new virus. But that virus that they brought out or created made us lose everything. But we blaming the Chinese for that shit, knowing that America had they were big into it too, because you got to shorten. So everybody thinks this country is overpopulated. This country was never overpopulated. Never. It wasn't 500 million people living in this country. It was 1 billion people. It's probably 7 billion people that live in the world. They probably wanted to cut that down to 500 million. But when they start talking about the United States being, oh, we want to cut the United States down to this many people, how? The United States is not even that big. We don't even have many people live here. And most of the people that live here are probably people that were former immigrants that came from other countries to come and live here because this country was not a country of Americans living here before the Europeans came here and took the country from the Native Americans. And then they took Mexico, Texas, California, New Mexico from the Mexicans. So there was a lot of immigrants living here. There was no documented. The people gotta say the Europeans were not documented when they went into Mexico and they fucking invaded Mexico. They were not documented immigrants. There was no such thing as immigration around that time when they invaded Mexico. So how they talk about that? Oh, they're immigrants, but immigration didn't start until later on down the road. So how? And black were still slaves. I mean, people were coming into this country and because they saw the gold, they saw everything that they could make money, silver. They started seeing that shit. So all that shit ran the fuck out and they started closing mines. Then the immigrants started leaving. But what drawn back immigrants was oil. Oil drove immigrants back. Immigrants started making money off of oil. Why do you think all this oil is all around here? That's why a lot of motherfuckers are making money off of oil. They're not making money off of anything the fuck else. They're making money off of oil. That's why oil is so expensive. It's really cheap because they're making money off of it. Because without the oil rush, the United States would be broke as shit and borrowing money from other countries that the United States been borrowing for all these years, and they don't talk about that shit. That the United States borrowed money from other countries and never paid them the fuck back. They owe Mexico. They owe Puerto Rico money. They owe a lot of countries money, and they won't pay them the fuck. They owe China money, but they won't pay them back because the United States is so greedy. We steal. We take everybody else's resources, and then we blame somebody else for our bullshit. We want to tell every other country's bad. We want to show all these videos of CNN, Fox News. We want to show all these videos of how bad other countries are when they're going to war. But the United States is the only country that's been going to war for a long time with a lot of different countries and taking what they want. They'll invade other countries without you even knowing that they're invading these countries, snatch up what they want, and then they'll tell you, well, it's their fault why we went in there and we snatched things up because they have terrorists there. That's the only thing we talk about is how terrorism in other countries, but the United States says no terrorism. And I'm trying to figure out, okay, when was this? Because remember, the United States, when the Europeans came here, they terrorized the people that were already here. And they terrorized Africa. They terrorized Spain. They terrorized South America. They terrorized all the countries around the world, Japan, China, Mexico, Jamaica, all these countries that they invaded and took what they want. That's not called terrorism? Murders, rapists, and all killers live here too. And you can go on your phone right now. You can look at all of them right now. They'll pop up on your phone. And you see these kids that are shooting up schools. They just had a kid that shot up a school not that long ago. They had a kid that shot up a mall not long ago. Who were they? Were American. I could go on and on and on. You see all these murders and killing on TV. There are American people that are doing this shit. But they wanted you to switch on the word about Mexicans killing somebody. But you got these motherfuckers. They just got this man killed. They searching for this dude that killed two Democratic politicians, executed them, and the boy's American. The boy that almost shot your president of the United States, American. The other boy that almost shot Trump, American. The boy that tried to blow up the other building that time down there, American. Another one, American. So why is it that, where's the people coming out of the country coming in here doing this shit? And if they are, they're probably doing it that they don't know nothing about. Or if they do know, why the hell all of a sudden you want to start locking up immigrants in the year 2025? After 1930 and 1950, y'all were locking up immigrants like crazy and sending them and deporting them back to their country. But now it's 2025. What the fuck? What made Trump think I'm gonna start just taking immigrants and just taking them out of the country because I want America to vote for me and I want to be the next president of the United States? So first it was the Quran, because it was the Quran in 2000 when the buildings got blown up and what happened to the buildings in New York. Then they switched back again because of the Bible, because of the Quran, because Donald Trump didn't like the way Muslims lived their lives and how their tradition was. Because I always try to figure out how Christianity is not the same fucking way as the Arab religion, but you go back. Today, they go after somebody else. How is it the United States is the only country that do that shit? We always chasing other people because we don't like them. But we want to prove to the United States that we're a bigger, badder country by taking people and throwing them out of the country. This country is supposed to be the land of free. People should be able to come in this country anytime they fucking want to, even if they're documented or undocumented. Because we can go into anybody's fucking country and do what we want to fucking do. Undocumented or documented. We can do anything we fucking want. As America, we think we got all this power. We don't have all that power. We got power in this country, but once we leave our country, we don't have no fucking power. Yeah, we got this big ass embassy sitting somewhere. We got all these embassies all around the world because they fucking go to these countries, they pop their embassies and try to change everybody else's government. This is what the United States has been doing for nearly hundreds of years, man. No, thousands of years. Ever since they were Rome, and this is what the Europeans were doing when they were in power. They always wanted to conquer and destroy and take and blame everybody the fuck out. Say, oh, these people are the ones with the virus, like they did in Japan or in China. They made black people look like they're the only ones that had the virus. And even in America, they did the same fucking thing, making black people look like they're the only ones who were immune to the virus. That we were carrying the gene, and nobody else was fucking carrying that shit. They do that. Well, I never understand. Like, the United States still has this power struggle between white people. The powerful whites still have this power struggle. They have to have power over everybody. They got to be kings and queens. We just can't live in 2025, make money, build this country into a fucking. We're gonna build this motherfucker just like Rome. We could have had a lot of powerful people, a lot of rich people making money every fucking day. Black, white, Puerto Rican, everybody could be making cheddar in this country. Everybody around the world would have been like, damn, this country is the greatest country in the world because they gave you opportunity. And when we had opportunity before. But guess what? They took that opportunity away from people that were poor and middle class because they were so afraid that they were losing their money. You got these rich motherfuckers afraid that they're losing their motherfucking money. So, they attack the rich and they attack the middle class and the poor. And make us more poor, not just to make us suffer, our children suffer. Not through just food, through education and many other things that we're suffering through. And you got all these other motherfucking kids killing each other in schools, shooting each other for no fucking reason. You gonna blame immigrants for that? You gonna blame immigrants for, number one, the United States being number one in guns. And the only ones that created the fucking guns was the United States. We have more guns than people. That's the fucking crazy part. And honestly, the drug capital is the United States. Everybody know the United States is the drug capital of the world. Because when they start bringing drugs in here, they start putting drugs in the poor neighborhoods. They start having regular black people sell these drugs, and poor people, not just blacks, poor people sell drugs so they get themselves arrested and locked up. So the government can take the drugs again and they can re-put it back out in the street again. Take the guns and the drugs and re-put it back in the poor neighborhoods. But did anybody try to stop that? No. Because you know why? Your boy named Clinton made a bill to only lock up black people because they thought black people were the only ones selling drugs. But we didn't bring the drugs in. We didn't create money. We didn't create drugs. Blacks didn't do that. We didn't do any of that stuff. We didn't know anything about that shit until we needed money after we came back from the war of Vietnam. Blacks needed money because they wasn't giving no money to black people. They wasn't even giving jobs and insurance to black people. You ever seen the movie Dead Presidents? Watch that movie and they'll tell you why black people started selling fucking drugs. Because they were coming back with no money. They were killing all these motherfucking white people, but they came back wasn't getting shit. You are in another country, protecting another country from, I don't even know what you're protecting this country from. You're killing other people to protect the country that your soldiers is not even on. To say you're fighting terrorism or whatever that's over there in another country, but these people got to come back to this country. And during the Vietnam, they hated the people that went to war. And a lot of them got drunk, got suicidal, started doing drugs. So you know what the government said? Since we can't pay these people, you know what we're going to do? We're going to give them some drugs. We're going to make them sell drugs. We're going to bring crack, coke, and we're going to give it to the poorest people that we could give it to. And once they start selling and get real big, they can't go over 1 million. If they go over 1 million, we're locking them the fuck up. And when blacks started getting rich, they didn't like that. Like they always don't like when black gets rich. Like during Tulsa, during Greenwood, all them places that they had money, they went and invaded and tore it down. Or they stole it from them. Or they built a dam and flooded it. Because they knew that we made money, just like the motherfucking Mexicans. Just like the Mexicans and many other cultures that come over here that were undocumented. They did the same thing to fucking blacks. Remember that. And blacks were documented. They were going to black neighborhoods, tearing the black neighborhoods, locking blacks up, hanging blacks. And they just do it to blacks. They did the Puerto Ricans. They did the Jews. They did it to everybody that was making money that was not European. But every single time it's not non-European, they will go after them because they make money. And they'll force everybody else to hate them. Like they will tell the Japanese they hate blacks. They will teach them. They'll go overseas and teach them to hate black people. They have teachings of hating cultures. They do this all the time. And it's to continuously do this to this very day. Donald Trump wants you to hate a culture that you don't even fucking know nothing about. Nobody knows anything about Mexico history. Nothing. Blacks, only the Puerto Ricans, and maybe a couple of, maybe the Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, maybe Native Americans know about their history. But blacks don't know nothing about Mexican history. White Europeans don't even know nothing about Mexican history. The only thing they know is they invaded the country and took something that was theirs. And then the Mexicans built the border wall. Next thing you know, they kept the Europeans out. Then the Europeans got mad, so they want to have a war with them. Just because they don't like this. This has been going on for a long time. When you hate somebody and you hate them that bad, you will make other people hate them. And that's what Donald Trump is doing right now. He's making people hate them. But see, America is doing good. They're sitting up there like, no, we can't do this. We can't hate people. Some people out there that hate, still hating. I hear people saying that they're going back and forth with Mexicans and all that other kind of stuff and saying, oh, you don't belong here. Why the hell? Why don't y'all build a ship? Well, a lot of these Europeans build a motherfucking big-ass ark boat because y'all love the ark so much. Y'all love that ark. Talk about the Bible. Y'all need to build one of the big-ass arks, and y'all need to take your ass back to Europe. If you don't want us if you don't like us and you don't want us to be seen, once y'all built a big ass ark, because y'all always tell us to go back to Africa, y'all always tell us to go back to Puerto Rico, y'all always tell us to go back to Mexico. So once y'all built that big ass ship called the Mayflower, that fucking virus plagued ship that was killing all y'all motherfuckers before y'all got the fuck over here. And when y'all came here, y'all brought all them viruses and rats and shit to the United States and gave blankets to the motherfucking Native Americans and killed them off. And you had another motherfucker named Christopher Columbus that was killing kids with wild dogs and alligators. So why don't y'all pack y'all shit up, pack all y'all fucking shit that y'all had, all y'all riches, all y'all millions, and leave the country and let us stay here and let us prosper. Let this be our new Africa. But you won't let us do that. Because you know why? Because y'all afraid that we're going to prosper. That's why they want blacks to prosper. Because they know what we did in Africa. We prospered in Africa, so we could prosper here too, but y'all didn't want us to because we started buying up y'all fucking land, which y'all sold us. Y'all sold us the land because y'all promised the land after y'all had us enslaved for 300 years. And now when we got the land, now all of a sudden you want to take that away from us. You want us to live on the street. You want us to eat out of trash cans. You want to live in the slums. You want to have control over us. We've been in control. Y'all been in control of us for over 300 years. That's why I'm trying to figure out. The Mexicans shouldn't even let Europeans be in control of them. Watch what we've been through. Because we've been through some shit. Africans been through some shit for literally 400 years. Being here in this country. Being immigrants. And not having no freedom. to ever do any fucking thing. We had to work our asses off every day to survive. We had to make sure that we didn't even get in trouble to get hung or get beaten by whips and chains and locked up and put in places that we never been. And when we tried to escape, the freedom. They'll go and chase us and catch us. And then if they didn't, if they didn't like that we ran off, they'll kill us for insurance money. I could go on and on about the African person because y'all treat us just like the Mexicans. See, the Mexicans don't know that shit. And even the Mexicans probably do know because Native Americans know about that shit. Because during the time the Native Americans were being kicked out of their fucking homes and shit in their land, Africans were slaves. And the thing is that black people still don't understand and still always want to please the white man for some fucking reason. We love their money. The dead-faced white motherfuckers that had us in slave chains, our ancestors in slave chains for nearly 400 years. The white man named Washington, Thomas Jefferson, I can go on and on with these presidents that had us in slave chains, but we are in love with their money. We're obsessed with their money. The stuff that we made, they stole. All our inventions, they patented it, they recreated it, and then they said it's not ours. We're the ones that actually build homes. We're the ones that actually build farmland. White people used to come to black neighborhoods back in the 1900s to eat our food because, number one, white people wasn't making any food like black people were. They went to our stores and bought food from our stores. They got so jealous of coming into our stores and having all these good food. They said, you know what, we can't stand this. Let's take this shit. So what they do? They go in there and they tear everything the fuck down and snatch everything from us. And then we sitting up there like, we can't have nothing for ourselves. We can't live in this. You brought us here. Number one, how can you bring people here, hate us, and next thing you want us to go? Why the fuck did you bring us here? Why did you wait for 400 years to wait? So you know what? Now we don't want y'all here. Now we want to get rid of y'all. Why did you wait so long? You could have put us on a boat a long time ago and shipped us back to Africa a long time ago. But you kept us here because you know why? Because if you would have lost us, y'all wouldn't be making any motherfucking money right now. This country would have been broke as shit. Really, honestly, it did go broke once slavery was over because a lot of white motherfuckers were getting mad because black people were not slaves anymore. And they couldn't have control over black people anymore. So when black people were going out there being spread out, they would go back there and hunt them, bring them back and be undocumented slaves, which slavery was illegal. But they still would go after them and hunt them, catch slaves, bring them back from the north, bring them back to the south, or bring them back to the Midwest and have slaves. That's why it's called the chain gang. The chain gang started in Africa. People don't know that. The chain gang started in Africa because when they took slaves from Africa, they used to put them in chain gangs. And now this is the reason why they call the chain gang and prisons. You know why they built prisons? They built prisons for blacks, Puerto Ricans, Mexicans, people that are not European. Yeah, you got a lot of Europeans in prison. Yeah, they put the ones in prison because they're afraid of them. Are not afraid of them. They're mad that they are not following the rule of the boss, which is supposed to be the higher power. So they lock them up. But to us, if a black man kills a black man kills a black man, it's really not that bad. But if a black man kills a white man or a black man kills a cop, it's something different. It's something that they hate so much that we're not allowing them to rule over us. We're not going by their authority. Because number one, when they created the Declaration of Independence, when they created the Constitution, it had nothing to do with black people. When they created the American flag, it had nothing to do with black people. Nothing. When they started war, like the Revolutionary War, and all these wars, it had nothing to do with black people. The only reason why they drafted black people because black people wanted to fight. Because they wanted to be free. That's why they fought in the Revolutionary War. They fought in the Civil War. Because they wanted to be free. And that's the reason why Lincoln said, listen, I'll give you some freedom if y'all fight. Now, honestly, I don't know why Lincoln would ever do that because if we would have lost the war, then blacks would have been slaves again. But won the war, been freed, then look what we treated ever since then. 400 years still been treated like trash. 400 years still be treated like trash. And black people don't see it because they're blind. Because their ancestors were slaves, but they hate the fact that their ancestors were slaves, so they'll ignore it. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about the past. Let's talk about the future. You don't have no future. What does your future look like? You can't even see the future. All you know is your past because that's what you already know. You don't know anything about your future. Oh, you want to see your future that bad? Well, you got a long way. We're happy to reach 2025. You know how hard it was to reach 2025 after the pandemic? People was thinking that everything was over. Everybody thought we were going to go to war with China. Everybody thought we were going to go to war with Russia. Everybody thought that we were going to have all these big ass, this problem with Jing Hu. We were going to have all these motherfucking problems, but we're in 2025. But you know what? We are still running in place. America's still running in place while everybody else is still ahead of us. You got China, Japan, Russia. All these countries is ahead of America. and technology and everything, education, everything. America's still running in place. But you know why? Because everybody's leaving this fucking country to go somewhere the fuck else because this country is broke. We don't have no money. Medical's trash. And if y'all want to say all the bullshit y'all want down there, go ahead, because y'all know it's fucking true. Because you know why people don't want to know? People know it's true because a lot of young people don't know shit. A lot of young people don't know shit about America because y'all are young. Y'all are very, very young. Y'all been on this planet for at least about 2 decades. I've been on the planet for 5 decades. And I seen shit, read shit, know the view of even my older generations try to hide the things that they went through because they don't want to bring up the shit they've been through. But they even know the shit that they've been through and they sick and tired of it. But you know, young people are treating young people the way we're still in racism. Racism should have been done a long fucking time ago, but white people can't get away from that shit. And not just white people, it's everybody. Everybody's fucking racist. We can't get out of this racism. We gotta be better than every blacks hating blacks, Chinese hating Chinese, white hating whites. Why? I don't get it. What are we living for? What are we here for? Then we got this immigration bullshit fight for immigration, which we should not be fucking having. We just had a Black Lives Matter movement last couple of years ago. Now we're protesting the fuck again. When are we protesting about shit that we need, like insurance, money, housing, healthcare, childcare, education, getting our motherfuckers to not go to prison, keeping these kids from killing other kids, shooting up schools, shooting up libraries. I mean, when are we going to tell? We're going to help these kids and motivate these kids to do something right for themselves that are American, then worry about some motherfuckers overseas that are thousands of miles away that can't even get over here. Then when they do get over here, you don't hear nothing the fuck about them. But you hear about them now because of some damn ICE bullshit. I never even heard of ICE. Because they never had ICE before. They had something before ICE. Now you got this ICE and Trump is enjoying this shit. He's enjoying it. He's not enjoying it because he wants to get rid of immigrants. He's enjoying it because he said he's a king. He has a power. He wanted to do this in 2016. He wanted to do this before he became president of the United States. He was talking about how immigrants should not be here. But people wasn't even talking about immigrants because people had no problems with immigrants. Now we have problems with immigrants. We have problems with Muslims. We have problems with blacks. Now we have problems with all these motherfucking people now because one man says this shit and everybody believes everything this motherfucker says out his fucking mouth. He's a pathological liar. He's a liar. He lies about everything. But people believe this motherfucker. People voted for him just for them to try to get immigrants out of the country for nothing the fuck else. They talk about the border wall, immigration, but what about the other shit that he's doing right now that he's signing these bills for? That's shocking to America now. Oh my God, I don't believe he's doing that. Why is Trump doing that? Because he was going to do it in the first place. He did it when he first got in the fucking office. He did that same shit. But the thing about a lot of things been blocked. Now a lot of stuff is not being blocked. He can put his stuff out there to go to these courts. Now he got the Republicans more deeper in the fucking into politics now and all these fucking seats. He can use his, even Democrats are even helping him. It's not a point about being Democrat or Republican or liberal. They're helping him. A lot of Democrats see immigrants as being a nuisance and not fighting for immigrants and don't care because it's about America. We don't have, why is America, that's the brokest people in the world, one of the brokest people in the world that has nothing, like the middle class and the poor. The middle class and the poor don't have anything, and we're worried about immigrants. We don't have shit. We don't have our own place. We don't have nothing. We don't own nothing. We don't own absolutely nothing. But we're worried about immigrants. Because we're worried about how they're owning shit. Because they're fucking working. Regardless of what their buddy's taxed and shit like that, now we're worried about how they're taxed. Why the fuck do we care? We're going to pay the percentage of the tax because we fucking live here. That's what we're supposed to do. We work. We're supposed to pay for our house. We're supposed to pay our rent. We're supposed to pay our bills. That's what we're supposed to do. If the immigrants is going to come and make money and send money back to their family, let them fucking do that. Now, if they are undocumented, yes, they should be documented. That's by law. But if they're not being documented, why do America care? When we're not out there fighting them for them jobs that they're working for. We're not going out in the fucking farms. They just had a big thing on fucking YouTube about these white people talking about black people won't even come and work on a farm. They said black people will never come out to a farm and work. They will never come out in this heat. They will never come out here and sweat because black people don't want to fucking work. And we blame the immigrants? How we got the nerve to blame immigrants for not working and black people are not taking the jobs they take? Why are we not going to immigrants and say, yo, I'm going to work on this farm. You ain't working on this farm. I'm gonna make this money. You ain't gonna make. You undocumented. No, we ain't going there. We gotta go on. We gotta go on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and be an influencer. dancing on TikTok. Dude, that's how we make our money. Selling shit on TikTok. This is how we make our money. But we're mad at immigrants making money? Are you serious? You should be praising them. Because you know why? Because the white man took that from us. They took that shit from us. They took it from the Native Americans. They took it from the Jews. They tried to take it from the Jews. Jews said, fuck you. You ain't taking our money. The Jews didn't like that shit when America was trying to take their money. They're like, no, you ain't doing that to us. They fought back. We don't fight back. We just let them take. And then we complain about other people. We don't complain about the white man taking our shit. We complain about the immigrants over here taking our shit. Even though the white man took our shit for over 400 fucking years, had us in slave chains, wouldn't let us do anything that we were free. In the Constitution, even the Declaration of Independence, we had to wait to get rights signed over to us to have actual rights, which it took years to do. And when we were freed, they tried to kidnap us back to being slaves again. But who do we blame? We didn't blame the white man. We actually tried to befriend them. We actually tried to join them. We actually tried to march with them. The same people that took shit from us, we try to make them our friends. But did any other culture do that? No. The Puerto Ricans didn't do that. The Mexicans didn't do that. The Africans didn't do that. The Africans fought the Europeans. The Mexicans fought the Europeans. The Native Americans fought the Europeans. The Puerto Ricans fought the Europeans when they went down into Puerto Rico, and they tried to invade Puerto Rico. They did. Black people here in the United States, we never get together and fight for shit. Black Lives Matter was nothing for us to fight for. We still killing each other. We're still doing the same shit that we had years ago. We had that Million Man March bullshit. Or we had that Civil Rights Movement bullshit. And look what they did to our leaders during the Civil Rights Movement. They killed our leaders. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, and many other ones they killed. Then we got to actually praise the people that were slaves that were actually helping blacks, which they were going to help blacks anyway. But that's what we praise. We don't praise the people that actually are helping us today, because we got a lot of black people out here trying to help blacks do stuff right. But blacks are still doing the same dumb shit. And we complain and bitch about immigrants. We should be supporting the immigration, and we should be over there helping the Native Americans and many other cultures that used to be us. You think they come into America and had everything given to them for free? They had to fight for shit. The Mexicans and the Puerto Ricans were talked about like dogs. They used to call Puerto Ricans dogs. They used to fucking have whites over here, Puerto Ricans over here. Puerto Ricans can use that bathroom. Whites can only use that bathroom. They did the same thing to them they did to us. They did the same exact thing. But black people always believe that we are the only ones that deserve everything coming to us, which they don't have to help us with shit. They don't have to give us money. They don't have to give us their white currency. They don't have to give us their white education. They don't have to give us homes. They don't have to give us housing. They don't have to give us nothing. They can take everything away from us if they want to. White man can take everything from us. And black people think that the white man will never do that. Yes, they could. And they tried to do it before. But see, the only thing that's protecting us is laws. That's the only thing that's protecting us. If we didn't have any laws protecting us, the white man would have took every fucking thing from us. They did that during the Jim Crow, the Black Code. They did that during the redlining. They took everything from us. They went to our homes, destroyed our homes, firebomb. The first firebomb ever in history recorded from a plane was Tulsa. The first firebomb. When they went into Tulsa because some white girl talked about a black man raped her or touched her in the elevator, which he didn't even know. He didn't say it was other people in the elevator, but she said the black guy's the only one that touched her. He got arrested and was almost lynched. He had to run to Tulsa, to the little town, the black town. The whites followed him and burnt down the fucking town. Just to catch one dude, to lynch him, the one guy. They were trying to catch him to lynch him. They were so mad they went in Tulsa, destroyed Tulsa, and almost killed over 300 people, over 300 blacks. The same way when they went to Mexico, when Mexico didn't want the United States to purchase Texas and California, when they told the United States no, that's what the United States said. You ain't gonna ever tell us fucking no. And you know what they did? They snuck attacked Mexico in the middle of the fucking night with ships. Not motherfucking horses, not on horseback, on ships. And they attacked them from side to side. Got them to surrender Mexico, California, and Texas to the United States. And Mexico was part of the United States. And then after that, Mexico fought for their independence. That's the reason why they're not part of the United States anymore. And that's the reason why these motherfuckers in this country are hating Mexico. But people don't know their fucking history. That Mexico used to be part of the United States. because that's what Mexico did when they got invaded by the Europeans that stole California and Texas, which the Mexicans owned. I'm going to say that again. They owned that. They owned them states. The United States didn't own shit. They were still purchasing. Even people that were from overseas still were in this country at the time. The United States didn't even purchase all the country yet. They were still purchasing parts of America at the time when they invaded Mexico. And when they took Mexico, it was their biggest prize. Was taking Mexico. It was their biggest prize. And you know, Mexico didn't like that shit. They're like, fuck this shit. You ain't gonna do that. We're gonna fight back. And they fought the fuck back. And the United States didn't like that. And to this very day, they still don't like that Mexico fought back. All them years ago, during the Mexican War. Having black motherfucking soldiers, dress them up as soldiers, even though they were still slaves, dress them as soldiers to go and hunt Mexicans and Native Americans. Come on, man. This country's fucked up, dog. And history proves it. People don't like history. That's why they always try to erase history. So people don't understand history. And people just don't like history because they know that history can always be brought up again. And people just don't want to talk about it. Or why are you bringing up history? Because history is the one that really tells you the truth about what happened and what's going on today. Because without history, we will never know the fuck's going on today. Why people hate immigrants. Why people hate Mexicans. Or hate anybody that's not colored. Because the Europeans brought that on themselves. Not just because they created the religion. They created hate out just because they thought their culture was better than everybody else's culture. They've been doing this for thousands and thousands of years. It's not a racial thing. It ain't a hate thing for white people. My daughter's half white. But the thing is, I'm sick and tired of people telling me about my history and telling me I don't know shit. You fucking crazy. I love my black history. And I love anybody else's history, like the Mexicans, the Puerto Ricans. I love their history because it shows what they did to them. They did the same thing to black people. But black people don't understand that. Black people think it only happened to them. And it didn't just happen to us. Throughout war, it was slavery. Throughout history, it was slavery. Throughout history, there were people that were racist towards each other. It's been going out through history. But the only reason why blacks are the ones picked on, because we were the first ones who were here. We were the first kings, queens. We were the first ones built cities, temples. We built all this shit. Through Egypt, Kush, all these, the Congo, and many other places. Zimbabwe, all these motherfuckers that we created that they white men were telling that we didn't build. And it was proven that we built this shit. But they'll tell you, oh, we're going to snatch up all their stuff. We're going to put them all in museums, and we're going to lie to them. We're going to create these archaeologists that's going to lie for us to tell them that black people had nothing to do with this. And then when they started to figure out that blacks started to get smarter, which they didn't want black people to get smarter, that's why they wanted to keep black education away from them and teach them the white education, which we have learned when I was in school, because we were never taught the black education, we were taught the white education. We were talking about the Greeks, the Romans, the English, the wars that were going on, the Civil War, Revolutionary War, Vietnam. We talked about what the World War II, the Black Plague, the Black Death, all that shit we learned. We didn't learn anything about Africa. And when we did learn about Africa, we only learned about our people being slaves. Or we learned about the people that were fighting for slavery to keep blacks to try to take blacks out of slavery. That's all they taught us. They didn't talk about really us being kings and queens. We didn't learn that shit until later down the road. Because they didn't want to teach us that we were kings and queens. And we were very, very, very powerful people. Very inventive artists, mathematics, scientists, doctors. We were all these things before that. It was even names even came to be a doctor, or they even had lawyers. That's crazy. They even had lawyers back in Egypt. That's some crazy shit. This stuff before it started. Before the white man came out of nowhere and said, "Oh well, we're the ones that actually started everything." Y'all didn't start shit. Y'all were in caves trying to get out of the Arctic cold to come down here, and then when y'all came here, y'all had a whole bunch of hair on your bodies. Y'all were the first missing link. That's why y'all so obsessed with the missing link. Because the missing link is your ancestor. With all that hair all over the body, because they had pictures of the Moorish Muslims actually with white people that had a whole bunch of hair all over their bodies. I mean, hair all over their fucking bodies. They covered their bodies from head to toe. Long ass hair. The Moorish Muslims were the first one to meet them. Got them to clean themselves. Wash themselves. Took them out of their fucking houses they were living in. They were living with their animals. They taught them how to eat. Took them out of the farm. Taught them how to read and write. Taught them how to brush their fucking teeth. Taught them how to use fucking deodorant. Not deodorant, but fucking different things they can use for keeping their bodies smelling clean. These are things that blacks have taught. And not just that, Mexicans did the same motherfucking thing, teaching people certain things. When they see certain people come into their village, they will teach them. They wouldn't kill them, they will teach them about their native land and everything else. But we go to white, they won't, shit, we're not allowed there. We're not allowed to go into your native land. Now, that's how blacks are doing now. We don't like nobody coming into our neighborhood because we are doing the same things that the white people did to us. We wanted to be like them. We wanted to dress like them. We wanted to live in their houses. We wanted to drive their cars. We wanted to smoke their cigarettes. We wanted to be with their women. Black women wanted to be with their men. And that happened. So you see this going on today. That's why I say you always look at the past and it will always tell you what the future looked like. Because back then, when white women were actually raping black men slaves, it was a big thing, but it wasn't really a big thing. And then you had white men doing the same thing to black women. It wasn't a big thing. But when it started getting further up into like the 1900s, into the 1970s, white men were dating black women and black men were dating white women because they could not keep away from each other. It was an obsession to say, I don't want to be with my own culture. Because that's what you should do. You shouldn't just be with your own culture. You should be able to, experiment and see what it's like to be with somebody else and love somebody else. Because you should. But the thing is that them times, it wasn't right. To their eyes, that wasn't right. To today's it's not, the eyes, it's not right. Because the white man still don't want no black people dating no white man. But they have to promote it. Because white people are not having kids. So they have kids with us so we can mix. And they'll take the kid from us and kick us out. Because that's what they're doing. They're doing it with all cultures now. Having kids with all these different cultures. Because their culture is dying. And our culture is probably dying too, but our culture can still live because we can mix with any culture and it can still be black. But like I said before, this immigration protest is great. I love it. I love it. They need to keep it going. But they need to be real about this shit. They don't need to be phony after it's over. Then we going to do like the Black Lives Matter movement and we just forget about it. Because Trump is not going to forget about that shit. Even the next president of the United States is going to probably be Republican. They're not going to forget about that shit. They're going to keep on trying to push this immigration shit. And they're going to probably start going after regular people that aren't even immigrants. They're going to start going after blacks, Mexicans, they're not going after blacks, Puerto Ricans, Asians, Chinese. They're going to go after different cultures. And they're going to throw them on a boat or take them on a plane and ship them something fucking somewhere they've never been before. And it's going to happen because us people don't understand what these are. These are not just tyrants. They're demons, dog. I don't even believe in the devil. But if the devil really exists, these are demons. Because these motherfuckers are evil. And people vote for people that are evil. Something must be fucking wrong with them. That loves this man that's actually one of the most evilest men that ever lived. And this is way before he became president of the United States. He always been like this. He never changed himself for nobody. But y'all still elect him, put him in office, what he did in 2017 when he destroyed the stock market then, and he's doing the same thing again. But people wanted him in office so bad because they say they want this president that had, he was really. So what about Hitler? Hitler was like the same thing as it had the same voice. Even Mussolini and Stalin and Churchill, very, very tough motherfuckers. Y'all voted for them, but when they got Hitler in office, Hitler was something different. Stalin was something different. Hussein was something different. Because they were called tyrants. But see, when you call this president, we don't call him a tyrant. He's not a tyrant. I would call him a tyrant. I think he's just trying to wannabe Putin and Hitler. He can't be them. Hitler has his own country. My fault. You hate Russia because Russia has power. That's the reason why the United States don't like Russia. It's because of power. It has nothing to do with Putin, because Putin is not doing nothing to nobody. He is doing what he's supposed to do as a president of the United States. The United States just don't like the fact that he has power, his own power running his own country with his own rules. The United States, Donald Trump don't like that the country today has rules. He doesn't like the Constitution. He don't like the Declaration of Independence. He don't like none of this old pieces of paper that's keeping him from doing the things he want to do. Like Putin don't have to worry about that shit. The boy Kim Jong-un don't have to worry about that shit. Because they got their own laws. The United States don't like that shit because the United States have laws to follow. And people don't like Putin because Putin used to be in the KGB and he wasn't a very friendly person. He don't have to be a friendly person. Why do people want these presidents to be all smiley faced and be all presentable towards himself? And they want to call him evil. But you got a president that's more evil than him named Donald H. Trump. Oh, because he's going to war in Ukraine. Ukraine is the size of a motherfucking. This is the size of Ukraine. Russia is like like the size of my bed. Ukraine about this small. Ukraine was invaded by another fucking president, well, leader that nobody fucking knows about, Stalin. Stalin used to own Ukraine because he invaded and killed most of the people in Ukraine. Then he had Ukraine until the motherfucker named Hitler came along and invaded and took Ukraine and Russia from Stalin. That's why Stalin came to the United States asking for help. Then when Russia won the war, because he got his Red Army to go down there to get Hitler after he assassinated himself, they're the ones that pulled the body out the fucking bunker and burnt the body. They're the ones that got to him first because the United States was nowhere near Berlin. And they want to say that they're the ones that won the war. No, they went over there and try to blow. They went over there and try to blow Japan up. That's all they wanted to do. They wanted to drop some bombs. They didn't care about. They really didn't care about Hitler. They were trying to keep a motherfucking bomb away from fucking Stalin. But Stalin didn't even care because Stalin didn't even have the country in his name anymore because Hitler invaded and took the country from him. But the United States was so worried about Russia during the war, when Stalin was not even in power anymore, his power was taken away from Hitler. They were so worried about Stalin getting the nuclear code to use nuclear bomb, not nuclear code to get a nuclear bomb. They were so scared. Not worried about Hitler getting a bomb. They're only worried about Stalin getting a bomb. So that's how obsessed with the United States is with Russia. They're not worried about China. They're not worried about Korea. They're not worried about England. They're not worried about Australia. They're not worried about South America. They're worried about motherfucking Russia. A country that has nothing to do with the United States is thousands and thousands and thousands of miles away. Because you know why? They have power in nuclear. They have power in innovation and everything. Their country is bigger than the United States. Russia's bigger than the United States. And it's powerful. And they don't like the United States hate it. That's what I'm saying. When you have powerful people that are very, very powerful and very influential in their country, another person will not like that person. They will try to get rid of that person. Like people will try to take power from another king because that king has so much power and influences. The person that wants to take his power is very jealous of the king, so they'll go out there and kill him or kill her. That's what they do, and that's what they're trying to do to him. They don't like him because he has power. Everybody likes Trump because Trump is an idiot. He don't know what he's talking about. Never been in politics. Never ever in his life knew anything about anything except money, money, money. Knowing how to run a business. He barely knew how to do that shit. That's why he lost all his fucking businesses. He lost half of his wives. He's really not good in relationships. He's really not good with people because everybody doesn't like him too much. Even the people that he made friends with for years don't like that motherfucker. He's on the Epstein list because Musk said that shit. And he's not just on that list. He's on the Puff Daddy list. And Puff Daddy knows this shit. That's why they won't kill Puff Daddy, like they did Epstein. But they forgot they had a girl named Maxwell that sits there and has the motherfucking proof that he was at the fucking islands with Epstein. And he was going to jail for 30 years, but they let that motherfucker out because they had to force him to be president because they made a promise to him to be president of the United States. You have a convicted felon in prison, being a president of the United States. So I'm trying to figure that out. Like, everybody knew about this man before he became president, and you see what he's doing now, and people are so shocked about what he's doing. Oh my God, immigration. You know he was going to do that. Oh my God, he's doing something with the food stamps. Everybody knew he was going to do that. Oh my God, he's doing something with welfare, childcare. Everybody knew this man was going to do this shit. Why do people are so shocked to think that he was never going to do anything that had to do with the things that he already talked about during his time coming in as, talking about, when he was going in talking about, well, when I become president, I'm going to do this. He was serious. He's not lying. That shit right there, honestly, he lies a lot. But Trump actually will sign shit that he promised that he was going to sign. And he promised that when he got in office, he's going to sign all this fucking paperwork. And people now are in shock and scared of the motherfucker. You should have been scared of the motherfucker in 2017. He's a tyrant. He's an idiot. Everybody knows this, and people love this man for some godly reason. I'll never know why. The man has a wig on his head. He needs to shave his head bald. The man he forgets shit. He was standing on a pedestal during his parade. He stood there for 5 minutes, and the motherfucking military dude had to come over and tell him, "Yo, you gotta leave, dog. You can't even stand on the stage. Why you standing on the stage?" He was like in a daze. He was mad because nobody came to his fucking party. Who cares? He should never even cared. He should never get. You're a president. You're the Speaker of the House. You're the Speaker of the country. Your power is to make sure this country is protected from other fucking countries, from foreign war, to make sure that we got good jobs, good money, make sure everything comes to the people because we are your bosses. The government is not our bosses. We are their bosses. But we look at it as them being our bosses, like we do to the police and many other places. We are just citizens, but they are the ones that are supposed to help us. We are their boss. We pay their money. We put monies in their checks. They use our money to build stadiums, hospitals, colleges. All this shit is paid through taxpayers' money. The money that we make. The government don't pay for shit. Because the government used to be a non-profit organization, just like the policing, the fire department, all of them were, and even the military was non-profit at one point. Until they started taking taxes out of people's money and started building these fucking places up with our tax money. And that's why you always hear tax money. This is American tax money. Because they take our tax money and build shit. Like weapons of mass destruction, guns, all this shit, drugs, all to do with taxpayers' money. But we put these motherfucking presidents. I told people, stop voting for these motherfuckers. Leave these motherfuckers. Let these motherfuckers get voted out by their own people. Because you know they are the only ones that vote. We don't vote. And when we put our votes in, they know that our vote's not going to count. Like Harris. Everybody knew Harris was going to not win the presidency. And we still voted for her. We should never even voted for Harris. We should never even voted for Trump. We should never vote for nobody. We want to see, we should have actually would have want to see what it looks like for not voting for a president for one time and see how they will react to that. They'll probably say, well, we gotta lock everybody. They probably lock us all, try to lock us all the fuck up for that. Because it's not illegal. We don't have to vote if we don't fucking want to. It's not illegal. Which a lot of people think it's illegal to vote. It is not. It's not illegal. We don't have to vote if we don't fucking want to. You can't. It's like I don't have to read the Bible. I don't have to be a Christian or a Muslim if I don't fucking want to. It's the same way with voting. I don't have to vote. Y'all wanted me to vote because y'all feel if I vote, my vote ain't gonna do nothing for over nearly 300 and something people voting. Which honestly, my vote's not gonna count because you got all these motherfucking aristocrats that were billions and trillions of dollars are doing their votes too. And honestly, they're the ones that put the president in office. So we're not the ones putting the president in office. We think we are, but we're not. So all that standing in line all fucking day, trying to vote for a president, yeah, okay. They know that your vote don't count. Black, white, Puerto Rican, green, yellow, it doesn't count. It doesn't matter. Because they already had their president selected. They already had Donald Trump selected years ago. They had Obama selected. They had Clinton selected. They had all these presidents like Kennedy, Lyndon Johnson, when he died, they knew Kennedy was going to die, so they knew Lyndon Johnson was going to be president. They knew Lincoln died. They knew the next president was coming up. They knew that Thomas Jefferson, Washington, they already knew these presidents were already going to be elected. They asked George Washington to be president of the United States. And George Washington said no, he didn't want to be the president. But he ended up being the president. They asked him to be president. So basically, all these presidents are elected by top officials are rich motherfucking people that got billions, that got money. That like the DuPonts, the DuPonts and the Fairchilds and all of them, the Rockefellers. Those are motherfuckers, the Gates. They're the ones that put the presidents in. The Michael Jordans. They're the ones that put the presidents in. They're the ones that built the prisons. They're the ones that make our economy so trash to make the poor be poor and the rich be richer. Trump is only helping the rich be richer because he wants the poor to be poor, so the poor will never ever, the poor has to beg for help. We're begging Trump for help. And then when he sees it's not begging for help, he gets mad. And then he starts taking things from us. But we got to keep on telling them that we're not going to beg for help. Because I believe that people are going to start begging for help because there's a lot of motherfuckers out there begging for help from Donald Trump. Please, Trump, stop. Please, you not do that to us. Why are you doing this? We voted for you. He don't give a fuck about you. Why do you think he cares about you? Why do you think Trump wastes time thinking about you? Us as Americans. Why do you think he wastes time? None of these presidents care. Obama didn't care. None of them cared. The only thing they do is be representing the seat. That's all they do. First black president. We were proud, but they knew that he wasn't going to help blacks. Every black person should have known that when they put their vote in for him. No, they wanted a black man in there or a black woman. You knew Harris wasn't going to be president. You knew Hillary Clinton wasn't going to be president because they're never going to vote for a woman in America. That's just point blank. Then it's never going to be a black man as a president ever again, period. Once again, it's never going to be that. We got our president. We should be happy. Now they're going to tell us to leave it the fuck alone. Then we try to get a black woman in there. That's not going to work. If they're going to put a black man in there again, why would they put a black woman in there for? It's a power struggle for us because it's not just because immigrants are struggling. Everybody's struggling in this country, dog. We're blaming just immigrants, but we're not blaming everything that's going on in our country. It has to do with the people that are actually standing over us and looking down at us and having their feet on our throat. It's the government. It's the government. It's not just the government. It's the rich aristocrats, the rich motherfuckers. They're the ones that are looking down on us too. They're having parties and laughing at us and taking our kids and doing shit with our kids and kidnapping people, doing all this other kind of stuff and laughing in our faces like we can't do nothing about it. They killed that. They killed the people over there for no fucking reason. The Democratic people for no reason. For what? Just because somebody's mad because they didn't like Donald Trump. Over a man that they never will ever be. Over a man that hate everybody. Now this family was part of the Ku Klux Klan, and you really like this man to try to protect this man, and this man don't will never do the same thing for you. He'll pardon you. There's a lot of motherfuckers been pardoned, are dead now, are locked up from him. My homie asked me a question. Oh, would you think they would ever do that to Biden? Number one, I don't know what they would do to Biden. Biden did the same thing. I don't know what they would do. Biden's not the president of the United States. I wish people stop bringing up other people. Because that's what we like to do. We like to bring up other people just because we see this man doing something. We're going to hate on another person. Oh, Biden would have done that. Biden would have did that. What the fuck? Who cares what Biden did? That would have been his regime, his time being president. Why do we care about what's going on with his time? He's not the president no more. Donald Trump is the president. We should be worrying about what he's fucking doing and stop worrying about what Obama would have done or George Jr. Bush would have done or any other of these motherfuckers would have done. Who cares? They didn't do it. They didn't do what Donald Trump is doing. They didn't do none of that shit. They're not fucking with immigration. They're not doing it. They're not worried about immigration. The people that worry about immigration is Donald is Trump. He's been worried about that ever since 2016. And he's doing it today. He's still doing the same thing he did years ago. He's doing it today. Why are we worried about what Biden would have done? Biden's not the president of the United States no more. Obama's not the president of the United States no more. Stop worrying about the past people that were former and worry about the man right now that's a complete asshole. That's tearing us down and putting us in a way that we might actually go to World War III. Y'all not worried about that shit? Oh, my boys be like, oh man, I'm not worried about Russia. We could do. I said, you're not worried about who? I said, you know they drop bombs too, right? And you know bombs kill people, right? So while Putin, Donald Trump, all the presidents are going to be in their bunkers alive, we're all going to be dead. And we're going to be like, oh, I hope Russia got blown up. Oh, America got... No. They are not going to care because they're going to be sitting in their bunkers chilling, sitting back, relaxing, sitting there drinking their expensive wine, eating their expensive food while we're all dead. Or trying to survive a nuclear winter. But we're worried about, hey, if we do this to this country, we're going to be winning. Why do you really think that way? Don't you want to survive to see if, the countries can be at peace with each other one day? Because we're not at peace with nobody. This country doesn't have no allies. We're losing all our allies because of Donald Trump. If we lose all our allies, every country around the world can come after America. Because we're losing everybody that's supposed to be at peace with us. And Trump is ruining that peace. And we're going to be at war with all these countries. And we're going to be the only country thinking that we can do everything we want because we got a couple bombs over here, but they ain't gonna work like that because they got more too. Remember, bombs add up, and we are a small country, small fault. We don't have that many people that live in this country, so 300 million people could disappear just like that. So we need to stop blaming Obama and all of them because they had nothing to do with what's going on today. What Donald Trump is doing to this country for the past couple of months. He's been in office for nearly over 100 days, and he's been doing the most stupidest shit. And people know he's doing stupid shit, but when he does things that messes with people's pockets or messes with some, we all go running and crying and be disappointed, knowing that he already said he's going to do this anyway. So he's messing with our pockets, and now we're afraid that we're going to lose everything, which he made a promise that he was going to do anyway. He already promised that he's going to try to destroy the Republicans over a birthday party. Now I don't know if it's true because Donald Trump just says things out of his mouth out loud, but sometimes I be thinking that motherfucker is like really, really mentally deranged. Like, I really think that something happened to him when he was young. I don't know if he's like, I don't even know if he's actually not, we call them children. The one when the mom sleeps with the uncle or something like that. Because he reminds me of one of them motherfuckers. He reminds me of this king from hundreds of years ago. He was an incest child. They say he was doing some weird, stupid shit. I believe he is one of them. Because he's weird. Like, I never seen a man that changes the subject like a billion times for something dumb else. Like, and he'll constantly say things out of his mouth that doesn't make any sense. And he'll laugh at himself. And he'll blame everybody else. But he never blames himself for anything. And he always talks about golf. Or he talks about how much money he had and how he loved rich people. That was so funny when he said, "I love rich people. I love money, 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 money." I was dying. I said, "Do people hear this? Or people are going to pretend like they didn't hear what he just said? Or like, oh, he was pretending. He was pretending. He wasn't serious." Man, that man is serious when it comes to money. He loves money, man. You can't talk if you can't talk money to him, talk business to him. He don't want to fucking talk to you. Remember, he was the only motherfucking president that had his own fucking show called The Apprentice. And his daughter is actually working with him in the White House. That's crazy. His daughter was on The Apprentice, and his daughter worked with him in the White House. A man that had a TV show. He was on the fucking Prince of Bel Air. Like he was in movies. This motherfucker owned businesses like the Trump Plaza. He owned the football team, XFL. He was in XFL trying to get NFL. He was trying to sabotage the NFL and get NFL players. He was owning golf courses, tennis courts. This motherfucker had restaurants, all in his name. And all that shit was taken away from him. But everybody think he's a great businessman. But this man can't hold an economy, which millions of people need him to help hold his economy. You know, him and his cabinet, but he ain't holding the economy, and the economy's all fucked up. So you really just think this man is great. And he's fucking up the economy, and everybody's halfway broke. Even the rich don't even trust that motherfucker half the time. Because he almost had the rich go broke during the pandemic when Bezos and all of them left their fucking job, left their presidency of their businesses because they thought they were going broke because of Donald Trump. That's why Bezos don't like him. Musk really hates Donald Trump because he was talking about Donald Trump years ago when they first did their first motherfucking when they had what's his name running for president. Biden was running for president. He was talking trash about even his own vice president don't even like his ass. That talk trash about him. But I don't know how he got these motherfuckers to come and be impeachable. Maybe they're probably using the crap out of Donald Trump. Because sometimes you can use a dumb man. Because he's dumb. So they could use him. They're probably using the living shit out of him. And Donald Trump is probably figuring it out. Like, damn, Musk is using me. Hold up. How dare you, Musk, you use me? We're supposed to be friends. I'm not your friend. Who told y'all was your friend? You were the same motherfucker with me on that Epstein Island. You know, we're smoking hot ass young girls. You know, being you, Donald Trump, we was having fun. You know, remember? Oh, well, don't talk about that right now. Let's talk about that in private. Donald Trump is a fucking, oh my God, I can't stand him. I don't know how people like that man. And I don't care if he's the president of the United States. I never called him a president. He never was my president. He never was anything to me, even when he was a fucking entrepreneur. I couldn't stand him when he was up there doing rap videos. The motherfucker did a rap video. Like, come on. Donald Trump did a rap video. Like, come on. Think about that. A man that's a multi-billionaire, now as the president, you can think back of how he was hanging with all these motherfucking rich black people, like Puff Daddy, like Mike Tyson, like all these rich entrepreneurs, and he got involved in all this shit to make him look more stand out than anybody the fuck else. I'm not saying it's not a smart move, because it is very smart, but the thing about it is that you ruined yourself to be president of the United States because everybody knows your fucking past. And people try to forget his past because they believe that he's a great president. Man, let me tell you something, right? You had Nixon as president that did some dumb shit. You had George Bush Jr. do some dumb shit. You know? And you had other presidents like Thomas Jefferson, George Washington. They did dumb shit. The thing about it is that they didn't have social media like we have today. And you actually seeing the dumb shit Donald Trump is doing, and he is putting it out there on social media. And people are just enjoying. Oh my God, it's so funny. People are like oh my God, social media is such a great thing. It's not a great thing because it's really terrible to have a president of the United States that's making our country look bad. And we've been in this country for nearly 300 or 400 years, and we are looking bad from other countries that are actually looking at us like, damn, why do you have that man in office? You got other countries laughing at us. They don't like him. They don't pretend to like Trump. They don't like him. You think this man is a tough man? He's not a tough man. Where do you get this from? A man with money is not tough. A man that's broke is more tougher than a man with money. Because a man that got no money is going to actually protect his family more than a rich person that got money that only give a fuck about his family, only they care about his money. And I'd rather have a poor, broke motherfucker as president than have some rich motherfucker aristocrat in office trying to steal money from the rich, steal money from the poor and give to the rich. And that's what we've been doing for the last past. But being president in 2016, got kicked out in 17 around that time. No, 16, 17, 18, no, 17, 18, 19. Then he was supposed to do his fourth year, but he didn't do it. So, damn, that's a long time ago. The man was president of the United States. And look what he did from that point on today. They kicked him out of office because they didn't want this man to be the president of the United States because he knew nothing about the pandemic. They got Biden in office because he was very suited for the pandemic, and they wanted him out of there. And they got him out, and they promised him, listen, you're going to get the seat in 4 years. Cool. So what I got to do now? Well, you got to go to the court system, We gotta make sure that you get all your fucking court shit all straightened out, and hoping that you don't go to jail for tax evasion, what you did with that prostitute. We're gonna make sure that you don't go to jail. Okay, but you gotta remember, you can't do nothing stupid for these next 4 years while Biden's in office. Cool. That's what that motherfucker did. That motherfucker was doing stupid shit. Why? Before he became president of the United States, saying stupid shit. He was in court yelling at a judge, calling judges names, talking bad to the lawyer, and all the other kind of stuff. That's what he was doing. That's all he cared about. He cared about himself. So he put everybody else down. And then when he got to become president of the United States, he took that same logic and put it in his presidency. And what he's doing today, he's destroying everybody. He's destroying everybody. Like to actually unify with each other and do things with each other to try to help this country get back what it used to be. This country's never going to be the same if we're going to deal with this for the next past 8 years or maybe a lifetime of tyrants. And I don't care if it's Republican or Democrat or liberal that are president. If you got these people that are coming in office and doing crazy shit, we're never ever going to merge together, get together, and help each other. And other countries are going to be looking at that and notice our weakness and attack us for our weakness. Because we are a weak ass fucking country right now. Because we got a weak ass motherfucking president. We got weak ass motherfucking leaders on both sides, Democrats and Republicans. And we got weak ass people that are in this country that are not actually defending this country, but we're going against each other and fighting each other to say other people in other countries are worse than us, and we're far worse than the people from other countries because we're living like them. We have nothing, absolutely nothing to say that we can prove to them that we are better to them than anybody else in other countries around the world. We're not. We're almost the same. We're almost a war-torn country. And it's a damn shame that this president is making us look like a war-torn country after been on in office for only 100 days, 100 and something days. Now look at us. We're bitching and complaining, and we're begging for help. We don't have no money, no food. Everything is just going downhill. Our economy, stock market, all that shit is trash. And all we do is blame each other and fight each other. And we're doing the most craziest shit. And we're just saying, let's blame immigrants. Let's blame people from other countries because we can't take no authority for ourselves to the things that we have done for the last past almost 400 or 500 years. We can't blame ourselves for stuff. We got to blame everybody else because it's not fair that we look at ourselves as bad people, but we have to look at everybody else as bad people. Because Donald Trump is a great president. Because he's the one that's helping us. I'm like, we need to burn everything down if we're going to actually rebuild this country and make this country great again. I'm talking about great again in a time that this country was actually making motherfucking bread. When people were coming into this country and helping this country make bread by help building this country. After the country was built, they kicked everybody the fuck out. Or they let people in, but they say, you didn't help build this country. Africans and immigrants were the biggest builders of this country than any other fucking immigrants. Like, you also got any European. Like, it's crazy. You had immigrants that built this country from the ground up, but you're going to say that you're the ones that built the country. Y'all invented the money to pay us to build this country. Without money, this country wouldn't be built because y'all wouldn't be having the money to pay the people that have built this country. And all the factories came from other countries. So the United States was to build the factories like that because if Lincoln didn't go over there to Europe and see all them go to England and see all them damn factories and bring them back to America, the United States would never had no factories. So you gotta like celebrate Lincoln for that because Lincoln's the one that brought the factories over here. But after the factories were brought over here, they're all shut the fuck down. Everybody lost their jobs, lost money, everything, and factories are not even being rebuilt anymore. We don't got no factories hardly here in America. And the factories that we do have are owned by rich motherfucking people. Like Bezos and many other motherfuckers like Musk and them. They own all the factories. So they have control of the money that they're passing out to people. Factories used to be this, we need workers. We need people to build things. We need people to do this. But they don't do that no more. We don't have factories. We don't have businesses like that. We have everything that's like little corporate businesses that honestly are disappearing. And now we're going to have to work for these big companies. And these big countries are going to take our money, taking our taxes, forcing us to work all the hours they want us to work. But the Mexicans are coming here doing something smart. Fuck that. We're not working for nobody but us. We're going to make some money. We're going to send it back to our country. And we can get back to our country and buy a nice little living back in our country. We'll save up the money and then we'll go back to our country. And go back and live in Mexico, in a nice little area of Mexico that's not all crime ridden with the cartel and shit. But America doesn't like that. America doesn't want nobody to be here except America wants only its own people here. I'm trying to figure out what people that are American here because I believe there are probably more immigrants here than Americans. Undocumented immigrants than Americans. That's why they can't go after every single immigrant because there are probably more immigrants here than actual fucking Americans that are documented. Remember, this country wasn't documented hundreds of years ago, so A lot of them probably are still living here undocumented. But that's, why get mad? Like, you should be like, listen, make your money legally, or just try to get your papers. If they get their papers, I mean, it's nothing a big deal. But people are mad because, oh, your family didn't do shit. You were born here. You didn't sign no paperwork. Your mom didn't sign no paperwork. Your grandma didn't sign no paperwork for you to stay here as an immigrant. I'm not saying everyone. I'm talking about people that are born here in America. Y'all were born here. Y'all have fucking birth certificates. Y'all have social security cards. Y'all have IDs. Y'all were born here. You were listed in a city or county or town, whatever you are. So you were listed as a, citizen. These people came from other countries. So all these Americans talk, oh my God, oh, I hate the fact that they are immigrants. They come out of the country, come into our country. Well, honestly, you were born here. So you can't complain about another person coming from somewhere else, because if you did the same exact thing by coming from another country, you probably would never came here legally too. So I don't understand why people always talk about, oh, why they come here illegally. Y'all would have never came here legally too. So what are you talking about? Any way to make money, any way to survive, you'll do anything to survive. You will come into this country trying to make money, regardless if it's you being documented or not. Like how they have people coming here all the time, make money, then they leave. Because it's all about making money. It ain't all about, living here. Because a lot of them probably don't even stay. They probably go back. They probably go back across the border, but they probably just come like once a week or once a month. We don't know, because they don't tell you the truth about everything that's going on. They don't tell you the truth. They don't want to tell you who's legal or who's not legal, because people lie too, like saying they're legal and they be illegal. But do people care? No. Why? Why should you care about what they're going through in their life and worry about your own? You don't worry about some immigrant across from you. Oh, he'll kill. How the hell do you know he'll kill her? Oh, didn't your uncle massacre like a whole family? But you're worrying about somebody across the street that what I mean. Do you think he's a murderer or a rapist? But your aunt and uncle did the same thing. I don't get America. We blame everybody for things that we do wrong too, and we just think that we don't do it. We just want to say, well, we are allowed to do that. We're not allowed to kill people. We're not allowed to murder. We're not allowed to rape. We're not allowed to molest her. We're not allowed to do any of that stuff, but we do it. But when people come here undocumented, we want to say they're the ones that do that. My friends say, oh, they do that. I'm like, what? Because my friend listened to Donald Trump. And I'm like, don't listen to him, man. Please stop listening to that man. I'm not saying nobody comes to do crime. Everybody has done a crime, even if they're not from this country. Like I said, people in this country do crime. You see it all over the news. You see, oh, America's Most Wanted. You see criminals all over America. But the thing about it is, like, how could you just say, well, these people are criminals because Donald Trump said so? But you got a whole bunch of people living around your block that are molesters, rapists, and you can look them up right now on your motherfucking phone and find out who they are. You can go and look up people that have been locked up. You can go up there and look at people's information on phones. You can do that. And a lot of them are American. But a lot of people will say, no, it's not. No, it's not American. It's all immigrants. How can you be so protective of them? Because you know why I'm protected of them? Because they treated blacks the same way. And blacks were non-immigrants. Blacks were immigrants. Before they became citizens, took them a long time to become citizens, but they treated us the same way they treated the people that they have here in this country that are non-documented. So that's the reason why I'm really a spokesperson for immigrants. Because if you don't look at the past of what happened to blacks, and not just the blacks, the Jews, the Puerto Ricans, the Chinese, the Asians, all the cultures that came here undocumented, and how they were treated by the Europeans, and how they kept them in ghettos and slums and wouldn't give them jobs, wouldn't give them anything, and they had to work their way up to get money by opening up their own businesses and other other neighborhoods to make money because of the success of making food or building stuff, or Mexicans come in because they can paint, because there'll probably be more painters and builders, and you got the blacks that can cook and be really good at cleaning and all other kind of stuff that were immigrants, and you got the Jews that could actually build things just like the Mexicans and do things, and they were making money off of that. But the white man didn't like that shit. They didn't like that nobody was better than them, so they started taking everything from them, and they started putting them in the slums, started making them be gangs and making them be thieves and shit. I put them in ghettos, while the white people were living in nice neighborhoods, living in nice, beautiful, nice townhouses and driving nice cars and having nice families, and we were up there struggling. And this is like this is before documenting immigrants started to become in fruition when they started really documenting immigrants because they didn't really care about documented immigrants at that time. But now people care, and I still don't understand why people care. Because what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? Were you afraid to go to their country and get locked up the same way? Not being a documented immigrant? Because you could get locked up the same way as they're locking up. ICE can come down and they can have an ICE out there in fucking Africa, and you're going down there just to visit your family for a year or something like that. They can lock you the fuck up and send you back to America. Or you move down to Africa, or move to South America, or move to England. They can have ICE down there snatching up immigrants that you're not documented, and throw you on a plane and send you back to America. And America is going through turmoil, just like their country is going through turmoil and war. And you're going to be begging and please don't take me back to that country. That country's going to war, and they're going to tell you they don't give a fuck. Just like how they're saying ICE is saying that they don't care about people out there fighting for immigrants' rights. This country is, man. I'm getting off this thing because it's hot. I got to my air conditioner on. I'm sorry I came over here been so long. I was trying not to be so long on this video. But I got sick and tired of the way the country is built, man. Now, we as Americans, we should be thinking better than we should be better than this. We should be more prouder than ourselves. We should be a proud country. We should be up there making everybody jealous of us in the sense of saying, "Wow, this country is a very powerful country. We can't fuck with this country." Now we're a weak country, and you're not afraid now. You're really not afraid of what this president is doing to us, man. You're not afraid of other countries bullying us because they see Trump bullying us so they can bully your citizens just like Trump is. Isn't it scary? Like this is not to have a president that just to have a president period. This type of president that just doesn't know what he's doing. He don't know how to talk to people. His mind is so effed up. He doesn't think for himself. Like, he wears a diaper. Like, come on, man. Like, this doesn't bother you? He's 79 years old and he's senile. And I have the right to talk about the man because I have a freedom of speech. I have freedom of opinion. Everybody has freedoms. If you want to take that away from me, go ahead, take it away from me because you're afraid of telling the truth. And people don't like the truth. That's why the reason why a lot of people don't like people's opinion or don't like people that talk like me because I'm blunt. I don't care. Like people don't understand when you live for 50 years like I have and look at the world differently. It's differently than you being young and don't know what's going on in the world because all thing you see is technology. My generation was there before technology ever was like actually blown up. So we seen things way before technology. We had papers, we had daily news, we had magazines, we had TVs, we had radio. So we actually knew our people that are today are alive before they became big time on social media. So why is it that why haven't we changed? Why are we so evil towards each other? And people say they believe in God. That's the biggest thing that really kills me about people using God as a way to say that they believe in God and they love God. God's the way, Jesus the way. But they always are evil. God's name is always brought up when I talk about something. Well, God does this, God does that. So, well, why the fuck do you hate immigrants? Why do you hate other people's color? If God created man and woman in his own image, that means you hate him too, right? What if God was black? What if God was Puerto Rican? What if God was Asian? What if God was just a person that was like he was a planet or a star or a black hole? Would you hate him for that? Would you change your belief system because God is not what you believe that he was? You thought he was, but he's not. But what if Jesus really like people think Jesus exists, but I don't believe he existed. But what if Jesus really didn't exist? What if Jesus really was a woman? What if God was a woman? How would you treat how would you treat God if God was a woman? Would you treat him the same that you would treat God as a man? No, because women are treated respectfully different than men because they're not known as leaders or power or they will never be looked at as you know as equal. So, but I understand people believe in this spiritual beliefs and shit, but you got all these people running around hating people, hating, hating cultures and shit like that because they're not the same as them. You want to snatch people out their homes. You want to celebrate that. You want to, hurt kids and celebrate that. You want to take immigrants and snatch them up and take them to prisons around the world that they've never even been to a prison before. But you want to take them to them prisons so they can die. Or you take them to the concentration camps they have in America and you want them to sit there and be punished for nothing. And this is the people that believe in God. These are the ones that are Christians. These are the ones that vote for Donald Trump. And even though Donald Trump says he's not a Christian out of his own mouth, but this is the people that actually stand there and stand up for people that are evil. And they believe in the word truth. But they defend the man that tells lies. Peace, everybody.